Our live program already started. Please off the video and off the microphone.
Greetings to all. I'm Topal Ghosh from Indian Journal of Animal Health, Kolkata. Good afternoon and my best regards to all the honorable dignitaries, respectable faculties, scientists, veterinarians from different parts of our country, dear PhD and postgraduate students, ladies and gentlemen. I'm thankful to the organizers and really feel proud to provide me this opportunity to start with this prestigious session. We are dazzled by your gracious participation in one-day online national webinar on the title, Impact of COVID-19 on Dairying, Poultry and Fisheries, National Perspective. This webinar is organized by Indian Journal of Animal Health, published from Kolkata since nearly last 6 decades. I welcome you all, sirs. In these difficult days, when every part of our planet is suffering from COVID-19 pandemic and facing future uncertainties, we organize this seminar on a very pertinent topic on its impact on domestic animals, birds, and fisheries, which caters our protein requirement and livelihood to many. I'm extremely happy to announce that we are having with us the doyens of veterinary, fisheries, dairy sciences, and related scientific fields to share their wise experience and thoughts with us. I'm sure that in the coming 3 hours, you will enjoy their talks like anything. Now, I am requesting Professor Borun Roy, Editor-in-Chief, Indian Journal of Animal Health, to deliver his welcome address and brief speech. Professor Roy, please.
Thank you, Dr. Ghosh. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I expect all of you are in good health and mind in this pandemic situation. On behalf of Indian Journal of Animal Health, I am delighted to welcome you all to participate in this national webinar and on impact of COVID-19 on dairying, poultry and fisheries, national perspective. The objective of workshop is aim to carry out brainstorming, discussions and presentations on several issues related to the topic and its relation to the industry and other trade-related matters. In this worst hit pandemic situation, when the whole world is bleeding and hit all facets of human life, we have planned to organize this webinar. This webinar will also provide a platform for interaction and linkages of farmers, technical experts, academicians, students, and of course industries too. Besides this virtual meet will also provide some tangible hints to the policymakers so that the potentiality of this sector can be better utilized for effective implementation to generate infrastructure and required legislative boosting for animal and fishery industry in compared to the global perspective. We have with us today Honorable Professor K.M. Gujarbo, former DDG, Animal Science, ICAR, and former Vice Chancellor of Assam Agricultural Universities. Sir, in spite of your busy schedule, you have spent your valuable time for us. We are indebted and grateful for your kind gesture. I welcome you as chairman of the session. Dr. S.K. Soe, Director, ICAR Central Institute of Freshwater Aquaculture, Bhubaneswar, Odisha. Dr. R.N. Chatterjee, Director, ICAR, DPR, Hyderabad. Dr. S.M. Dev, Head, Animal Genetics and Breeding Division, ICAR, National Dairy Research Institute, Karnal, and former Director, ICAR, NRC, Young. Dr. Ashita Basu, Vice President, Kevinter Agro Limited of West Bengal, and of course, Dr. Devashish Sarkar, the eminent economist. All are present here to grace this occasion as honorable technical speaker. We are delighted to have this galaxy in this webinar. I am grateful and welcome you, sirs, in this virtual way. It is our pleasure to have with us today Professor Gaya Prasad, the former Additional Director General Animal Husbandry, ICAR, and former Director, ICAR IBRI, and former Vice Chancellor, SVPUAT Mirat, and Dr. Hemant Kumar Mujumdar, President, National Academy of Science, India, Kolkata Chapter, NASI, Senior Scientist, Platinum Jubilee Fellow, to allure the program as a special guest. It is my great privilege to honor to welcome you, sirs, on this program. I find it honored privilege to welcome Dr. Partho Sarkar, General Secretary, West Bengal Veterinary Association, Dr. Professor Pradeep Kumar Das, Editor, Indian Journal of Animal Health, Dr. Alok Mukherjee, Chairman, Publication Board, Indian Journal of Animal Health, and all the members of the IJH Advisory Board, Editorial Board, and Publication Board, and the members of the organizing committee for their kind presence. We have with us a large number of participants, including Dr. Captain A.G. Bandyopadhyay, former Principal Director of the ARD Department and Government of West Bengal, Dr. Dilip Das, former Director of the ARD Department, Government of West Bengal, and Dr. M.S. Kundu, Director of Extension Education of Dr. Rajendra Prasad Central Agricultural University, Bihar, and so many honorable dignitaries. I extend my heartiest welcome to you all, sirs. Due to large number of the participants and connectivity constraints, we cannot afford space to all in this Google Meet platform. Most of the participants are joined with us in YouTube live streaming media. We are grateful to Google and of course YouTube for their kind support. I extend my warm welcome to all the delegates, scientists, technocrats, faculties, farmers, students, industry representatives, and of course, press and publicity personnel from various parts of the world and across India for participating in this webinar. And hope all of you will enjoy the technical lectures and discussions. Hope you can get a positive directive from this webinar, which can pursue our future guideline to combat the menace. Thank you once again to all of you, sirs. Now I over to Dr. Ghosh again. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Borun Rai, for excellent deliberations and welcome speech. Your commendable leadership steers our journal to a new height. I appreciate it, sir. Now, it's a great privilege to request Dr. Partho Sarkar, General Secretary of West Bengal Veterinary Association, which is the publisher of this journal since its inception, to deliver his brief speech. Dr. Partho Sarkar, please.
Good afternoon, distinguished guests, speakers, respected members of Advisory Board, Editorial Board, Publication Board of Indian Journal of Animal Health, colleagues, and others. It's a moment of great privilege and honor for me to extend a hearty welcome to all of you on behalf of our beloved organization of veterinarians West Bengal Veterinary Association. Established in 1956, WBVA took the venture for publishing the prestigious journal, Indian Journal of Animal Health, in 1962. Our effort to uplift the status of journal and regularity is continuing with all of your wholehearted support. We are also engaged vividly in the upliftment of animal husbandry, our profession, as well as our fraternity. We are regularly conducting different scientific seminars, publishing several books for farmers, as well as other stakeholders. With active support of all sectors associated with Indian Journal of Animal Health, we are publishing these biannual issues regularly and achieved a NAS rating of 4.08. Friends, you know, COVID-19 epidemic is the first and foremost human disaster in this year 2020. World Health Organization had declared more than 200 countries and territories to be affected by coronavirus, and recently number of COVID confirmed cases has accelerated severely. Our economy is passing through depression and high unemployment, which has also affected all sectors, including animal husbandry, in terms of production, marketing. This leads to havoc impact on producers, manufacturers, as well as all of us. I hope that this webinar will help us by providing some very important and useful information regarding the impact of the global pandemic on animal husbandry as an industry. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Sarkar, for your nice talk. And the journal is indebted to your organization for its winged support. Hope it will continue forever. Now, I'm requesting Professor Pradeep Kumar Das, editor of our journal, to present the best paper and mode of discussion, and also his brief speech about this webinar. Professor Das, please.
Thank you, Dr. Ghosh. Respected Professor K.M. Bujal sir, Professor Goya Prasad sir, Dr. Hemanto Mujumdar, Dr. S.K. Swain, Dr. R.N. Chatterjee, Dr. Eshen Dev, Dr. Devashish Sarkar, Dr. Rashida Kishore, Professor Paul Sarma, distinguished guests, Chief Editor of Indian Journal of Animal Health, Professor Varun Rai, General Secretary of West Bengal Veterinary Association, Dr. Partha Sarkar, and enthusiastic participants. Indian Journal of Animal Health, IJH, is a biannual scientific journal published uninterrupted since 1962 to promote the art of veterinary and animal husbandry, fishery and dairy sciences, and their relation to public health and agriculture from different institutions and universities, and to bring the latest information about the advancement of sciences to the doorstep of end users. Recently, we organized a national seminar on drug resistance, a global menace, one health approach, on 7th March of this year, and published a special issue on the same program. We are in progress to publish another special issue with the end of this year, gut microbiome and health for improving productivity of animal and bees. In the context of present COVID pandemic caused by SARS-CoV-2 virus, we have prioritized the vital health issue that affect directly or indirectly almost every facet of the society, including animal husbandry and fish farming. According to the publication of various incidences on experimentation, it has been documented that a few pet cats and dogs and some large cats in USA, few minks in Netherlands, and was infected by SARS-CoV-2 virus. Experimentally, ferrets, cats, and golden hamster got curable mild infection, whereas it was also confirmed that mice, pigs, and poultry, like chickens and ducks, did not show any symptoms in such trial, where animals were experimentally infected with SARS-CoV-2. Even not a single report of infection of livestock and pigs. In this context, the Center for Disease Control and Prevention (CDC) in their advisory on 12 May 2020 declared the guideline to protect both human and animal health. The scientific advice of the World Organization for Animal Health (OIE) stated that although several animal species have been infected with SARS-CoV-2, but these infections are not a driver of the 19 pandemic. The pandemic is driven by human-to-human transmission. They emphasized on the multisectorial health approach to combat such pandemic situation. The OIE did not recommend any COVID-19 related sanitary measures be applied to the international movement of live animals or animal products without a justifying risk analysis. India and Ministry of Agriculture and Farmers Welfare and Ministry of Fisheries, Animal Husbandry and Dairy, Government of India, in their series of advisories since March 2020 related to COVID-19 pandemic suggested continuing the farming activities and services with minimum supporting staff, maintaining social distancing and personal hygiene following various safety measures. During May, the ICR published that the challenge becomes still tougher as the lockdown in shortage of farm labor on one hand and disruption of marketing channels at the end of consumers. Perishables like poultry, dairy, fruit and vegetables started perishing, and this resulted into destruction of a lot of food which otherwise could have been consumed by people of India. Such trend could not be let continue as our national food reserve can feed 1,350 million people only for few months. Advisories of ICR in respect of the fisheries sectors have been recognized by the Food and Agricultural Organization (FAO), where it was stated that besides the disruption of fishing activities from open water and aquaculture in both freshwater and brackish water system, several associated activities like seed production, feed plant operation, supply and market chain, etc., have been greatly impacted. As a whole, the fishermen, fish workers, processors, and their communities have been facing the threat of pandemic, which is affecting the entire value chain and livelihood depending on it. Minister of State for Fisheries, Animal Husbandry and Dairy, Government of India stated, India's fish export likely to fall 5 to 10% in financial year 2020-21 due to COVID-19 crisis. The Central Institute of Fisheries Technology (CIFT) reported COVID-19 inflicts a daily loss of rupees 224 crore to India's fisheries sector. The All India Poultry Breeders Association (AIPBA) declared the Indian poultry industry nearly lost of rupees 22,500 crore during COVID-19. Dairy industrialists communicated that milk consumption drops 30% amid lockdown. Under these circumstances, we are organizing this webinar on impact of COVID-19 on dairy, poultry, and fisheries national perspective. To discuss in details of such impact from the scientists, the researchers, professionals, and eminent personalities in the related fields, we will restrict our today's discussion within the national perspective. The role of dairy, poultry, and fishery in the society has multidimensional. These resources provided the basic source of animal protein, which contain nearly more than one-third of their daily menu and directly related to food security. Its importance has been increased manifold in COVID-19 pandemic situation. From the socio-economic point of view, these sectors are primary source of income of nearly 24 million Indian people, and the number increased manifold when agricultural experiences several crises. Considering its importance as a major mean of non-edible agriculture byproducts in the system, as well as primary input of byproducts like hides and skin, bone, fat, etc. The dairy, poultry, and fishery are the precise resources. Hence, when the farming system are greatly affected during lockdown caused by COVID-19 pandemic, the national income as well as livelihood would significantly be affected seriously. It is not yet been declared from government sector about the details of impact of such events on dairy, poultry, and fishery, but considering the ground reality as physical distancing, unsecure transportation, scarcity of raw materials, it can be taken into account that farming system was seriously affected in respect of availability of poor and inferior quality input like feed and fodder, seed and seedling, and various farming resources. Optimum production was also troubled due to lack of sufficient services relating to healthcare management and genetic upgradation programs, causing increased mortality as well as generation of poor breeding stock. Further, market of primary products like milk, meat, egg, and fish remained uncertain, even international. In consequence, processing and ancillary industries distressed to a great extent. As a result, loss of potential market along with loss of mandates have been perceived. COVID-19 pandemic situation directly reduced the purchasing power of Indian citizens. It also disheartened the farmers and all the related personnel, which immediately created a short-term impact due to COVID-19. Fitting of breeding stock, generation of poor progeny, and loss of principal component or mortgage, as well as defaulter of credit payment, are few of the long-term impacts of farmers during COVID-19. Proper analysis of impact considering all such aspects is an emergent issue to the nation, not only to support directly the victimized production, structural reformation for input generation and marketing support as well as financial support have also been extended many folds from the normal budgetary provision. Declared package for farmers to accommodate the jobless Indians and strengthen the women empowerment as demanded nationwide in post-COVID-19 pandemic. Continuous technical support and motivation through ICT for hygienic and value-added production, preparation as well as replacement of the breeding or farm stock, the potential resources should be ensured to encourage the progressive farmers. Labor-intensive and SHG activities are to be promoted. Increasing grant to make research, extension, and capacity building program should also to be prioritized from government sector. Keeping in view the livelihood of nearly two-thirds of rural population in these sectors, the webinar hopefully will make guideline from the resourceful talk of the technocrats, economists, and interaction with stakeholders. Thanks to all.
Thank you, Professor Dash, to illuminate us about the context vis-a-vis mode of this webinar in a nice way. Now, our main session of lecture series is about to begin. I presume all of you anxiously waiting to hear the excellent talks from the stalwarts in this field. Now, I am again requesting Professor Dash to start this program and moderate it. Thank you and very good wishes to all of you. Have a nice day. Professor Das, please.
Thank you, Dr. Ghosh, for your nice conduction of the initial part of our today's webinar. Now we will start our main session, the technical session. Of the technical session, we have some announcement. You know that there are a lot of participants registered in our webinar. The participants are the section of the society. Nearly 671 participants are registered and more than 700 joined in our YouTube program. Now, if we analyze the category of these participants, we have seen that nearly 65% participants are the professional in their respective areas. Out of them, 25% are the faculties, 25% are the field veterinarian or field veterinary services people, and the rest are the either scientists or the farmers or students categories. Now, if we see the sufferer of the COVID pandemic situation, we have seen 41% of the participants are sufferer by any ways. Out of them, 10% are the direct producer, 25% are related with dairy, fishery, and poultry industries people, and the rest 64% are the consumers. So we hope that cross-section of the participants, when participated in our program, a heartful discussion we can make during our webinar. For the discussion, we have opened the chat box. All are requested to put your question to the speaker in the chat box. Don't write your name or your personal details within the chat box. Your personal details will be recorded through the feedback. The link of the feedback will be provided in the chat box sufficient time ahead before the closing of the webinar. You have to submit the feedback for getting the certificate. Now, please let us enjoy the seminar and write all of your questions to the speaker, and within our stipulated time, our rapporteur will place the question from the chat box with the permission of the chairman. 20 minutes is the time allotted for each speaker, and 5 minutes at the end of each talk there is a discussion time. Now I am requesting to Professor Bojer Borua sir to act as the chairman of today's seminar, and also I am requesting Professor S.K. Das, Dr. Somen Chatterjee, Dr. Indranil Samanto, and Dr. Srinivas Das to act as the rapporteur of the whole session. Now, before starting this scientific session, let us first introduce about the chairman, Professor K.M. Bojer Borua. Professor K.M. Bojer Borua is a distinguished veterinarian, agricultural expert, academician, and research manager. Though he specializes in the areas of reproduction, but his true acumen and leadership immensely contributed in the development of almost all areas of the animal sciences and agriculture. Dr. Bojer Borua contributed significantly in the areas of national agricultural development across India, especially in northeastern region. Dr. K.M. Bojer Borua served several key positions in ICAR, majority as director at different research institutes at northeastern region. He served as former Vice Chancellor of Assam Agricultural University for about 8 years, Deputy Director General Animal Science of Indian Council of Agricultural Research, New Delhi, Director ICAR Complex for Northeastern Region, Director NRC Mithun ICAR. He had several publications in international journal and some valuable books. He developed 6 models of intensive integrated farming, a pig variety, popularized AI in pig and Mithun, etc. Besides, he facilitated the release of 6 rice, 3 tomatoes, and 1 turmeric varieties for northeastern region. He also strengthened molecular biology research in both plant and animal sciences in the region from scratches. He played significant role for conservation of novel native animals as well as rice germplasm. Dr. Bojer Borua has also distinguished himself as the crusader of organic farming in northeastern region. He framed animal science research agenda for the country for 11 5-year plan and involved in developing bilateral program with.
I think it's okay. Okay, fine.
Sir, just 1 minute, sir. I am completing your questions. He bagged a dozen of prestigious awards and accolades as the highest award of ICAR Sardar Patel Outstanding University Award, Fakhruddin Ali Ahmed Award. In recognition to his scientific contribution, Dr. Bojer Borua was conferred DSc honoris causa by Odisha University of Agricultural Science and Technology, Bhubaneswar. Dr. Bojer Borua has been taken as Fellow of Academy of Agricultural Science. Presently, he is the advisor of State Innovation and Transformation Ayog, SITA, Government of Assam. With this, I am requesting Sir Professor Bojer Borua, sir, please chair the session of our technical session of the webinar, Impact of COVID-19 on Dairy, Poultry, and Fisheries National Perspective. Sir, please.
Thank you, Professor Das. I'm audible?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, fine. Namaskar to everybody. lot many distinguished personalities are here. Uh, right from Dr. B. Roy, the chief editor, uh, and especially I will have to name Dr. Gaya Prasad, who was my esteemed colleague. I'm so very happy that he is also going to give his input after the end of the formal talks, listed talks of 5 persons or 5 experts. We also have distinguished personalities from Indian Journal of Animal Health and others from other sectors. My former colleagues are here, like my brother, like Dev, Chatterjee, and all that. It will be difficult to name because the time is a constraint here. I am told that I think I will have to close this by around 5 in the evening. I have also to do that because I have some other engagement. So therefore, I think without taking much time on introduction and all that, I will say that I'm so very much grateful to Indian Journal of Animal Health, all office bearers, for inviting me to this webinar, which is so very important. It's very important, and its relevance has been well highlighted by Professor P.K. Das. And I'm so very happy to see that as per the title of the webinar, the experts have been chosen. We have experts from dairying, experts from poultry, experts from fisheries. So it has been very nicely done. In addition to that, we also have the comments and the inputs from experts like Gaya Prasad and Majumdar, Dr. Majumdar. I think it will go. As has been said by Dr. P.K. Das, I think each speaker will get around 25 minutes. You will have to, complete it within 20 minutes so that, as said, 5 minutes we get for question answer session. Okay, as initial thing, this is so very important an area. What has been the impact of COVID-19 on, say, dairying, on poultry, on fisheries? In fact, if you see, COVID-19 has impacted all sectors of economy. It's not only the animal husbandry sector, the service sector, the industry sector, everywhere. In fact, I would say the impact on animal husbandry and agriculture sector as a whole is not as severe as the impact on service sector and industries are, which is why, see, a recent report says that around 1.89 crore job has gone during this particular period. Now, out of that, around 1.3 crore people are interested to enter into agriculture and allied sector. That means what? Agriculture and allied sector could survive compared to the other sectors of economy. Despite the fact this sector has also been hit equally. It's not that it has not been hit, it has been hit very equally. Dairy sector, for example, if you see, what has happened the other day, we have seen a report. I think all of you are aware. In Maharashtra, the farmers had to dump their milk on the street because of low prices they were getting. That is indication enough as to how badly this sector has been hit when you have to dump the milk on the street. Now the dairy sector, if you see, 2019 contribution of dairy sector as a whole, you see, it was in terms of money, it was 7.01 lakh crore. That was the contribution. Now, this contribution, if you see, now let us come to the overall contribution on agriculture and allied sector. Put together, their contribution was around 28 lakh crore. That means dairying contribution itself was 25% of the total agriculture and allied sector contribution to the GDP. So that is such an important sector, and this important sector has been hit so very badly that people had to dump the milk on the street. It itself says about the gravity of the situation. This sector, where around 7 crore farm families are involved, their economy, all that kind of thing. Now, again, if you see, as per estimate, around 52% milk is, emerges up as surplus for sale in the urban, cities. Now, even that has been hit because in urban cities, the hotel restaurants where consumption is much more, they are not purchasing it. So that has been hit very badly. So, means overall, I think our experts will tell the details. I am not going into that detail now because I have to give room to the other speakers. Similarly, if you see the poultry sector, such a robust sector, Indian poultry industry today producing 4 billion, broiler and around 93 billion eggs. It is growing at 6 to 8%. That sector has been hit so very badly, initially because of the rumor that chicken is the carrier of coronavirus. That kind of report, the false report, but it had affected the grower. They said all those. So therefore, this sector has been very badly hit initially. Initially, of course, if you see the fishery sector, initially it was not hit so very badly because first lockdown period, if you see, that time fishes were, particularly I am talking about the inland fisheries, they were in their water bodies and all that. But subsequently, from the second lockdown, it started suffering. It started suffering because it was the breeding season. The necessary hormones that were needed for breeding were not available. Markets were closed. The feed was not there. All those sectors. So that's how. If you talk about the marine fisheries, that is still suffering. That has suffered because from 24th of March, the fishermen had not ventured into the sea. They had not ventured. And subsequently, there was a ban on fishing. And because there was a ban on fishing, so people couldn't go out. So therefore, that sector has also been subsequently hit very badly. Initially, of course, people were hoping the corona would go away very soon, that kind of it. So therefore, if you see the dairy sector, the poultry sector, the fishery sector, and all other things, including the meat animals, pig and all that. Pig sector has been hit again, additionally by African swine fever. In addition to this, so all those things are there. So I am sure the distinguished speakers have prepared their presentation well, and they would definitely cover the details about this, and they would also suggest that what are the measures where this webinar maybe will have to take in the form of recommendations. We'll wait for that, listen to them, and finally come to finally see as to what could be the recommendations out of this webinar for the policymakers, for the farmers, for others, for the researchers and all that. I think I'll stop here because of the time thing constraint. As I said, by 5 we would try to finish it off. I think I would first of all, having said this, I would first of all invite the first speaker, that is Dr. Swain from SIFA, Bhubaneswar. And I would also request Dr. Das, Professor Das, to give his introduction, and then he would give his presentation. Dr. Swain, you would have to be really sticking to the time, so that I am safe from the embarrassment of reminding you.
Yeah, I'll take care, sir.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, Chairman, sir. So just now I am introducing our Dr. Saroj Kumar Swain. Dr. Saroj Kumar Swain is heading the prestigious Central Institute of Freshwater Aquaculture, SIFA, ICR. Dr. Swain did his master in zoology from Ravenshaw College, Cuttack, and completed his postgraduate diploma in fishery sciences in CIFE, Mumbai, with a distinction of gold medal. Later, he was awarded doctorate degree from OUT Bhubaneswar, Odisha in 1997. In 2000, he completed a short postgraduate course in the University of Jerusalem, Israel, on aquaculture production and management, and awarded Certificate of Excellence. In his long career of research and studies, he had been awarded a diploma in marker assisted selection under University of Chile, South America in 2009. He started his scientific career under Agricultural Research Service ARS in 1991 at ICR SIPA. He has contributed immensely to develop the captive breeding technology of endangered ornamental species of India. He had successfully bred more than a dozen of indigenous ornamental species leading to their commercialization. He is the architect behind the establishment of ICR SIPA Public Aquarium. During his long career of development research, Dr. Swain has been honored with many national awards. To his credit, he has 35 research papers published in academic journals and 4 books and a number of extension and technological series of publications. He has a design patent of a mobile diesel operated aerator and commercialized Cipha-Kio, a medicine for controlling bacterial and fungal diseases of aquarium fishes. Very recently, under his leadership, his diversity of Mahanodi has been studied, revealed a few ornamental fish species, of which one species, Porcelorhynchus swinei, is coined after Dr. Swain. He was subject matter specialist of Government of India to prevent cruelty to animal issued by Minister of Environment, Forest and Climate Change in 2017 for the benefit of large stockholders of ornamental fish industry. In short, Dr. Sohail is committed to the society and is open to ideas that bring about positive changes to life on Earth. He will today discuss on the technology integration for aquaculture development. Dr. Sohail, please start.
Thank you, Dr. Das, Dr. Pradeep Das. Respected Professor Gujar Barua sir, former Deputy Director General and Animal Science, ICR, and former Vice Chancellor of Assam Agriculture University, Professor B. Roy, Chief Editor, Indian Journal of Animal Health, Dr. P. Sarkar, General Secretary, West Bengal Veterinary Association, Dr. P. R. Ghosh, and so many galaxy of learned persons here and great speakers. It's an opportunity for me. Being given an opportunity to speak on this national webinar on impact of COVID-19 on dairying, poultry, fisheries, a national perspective, and which is really a need of the hour. And definitely, I'll stick to my time. Of course, the time is very short, but still, I prepared a PPT and presentation. I would like to speak on integration of aquaculture. So I'll just give me 1 minute to share. This one. Is it visible? Sir, is it visible?
No.
No, it's not visible. Just a minute. Sir, is it visible? Is it visible, sir?
Yes, it is visible, but make it a presentation form.
Make it is a presentation form, right? A presentation form. It is. Yeah, it is there in the presentation form here. Is it okay?
It will.
No?
It's fine, I suppose. You make it earlier one. This is smaller.
Yeah. Is this okay? Here it is showing the full screen. Is it okay?
No, it is not showing. Some other screen has come.
Some other screen has come.
I think first one was okay. It is fine.
Just a minute, just a minute. Is this okay, sir?
Yes,
Is
yes,
this
it's okay.
Okay. Yeah. Technology integration, culture development, and if you consider that we belongs to the Central Institute of Freshwater Aquaculture,